entered a plea of guilty to the first-degree felony offense of intoxication manslaughter with a vehicle. I've received the pre-sentence report and also a supplemental memorandum from probation that includes several letters from the victim's family members. Has everyone had an opportunity to review all of that?
Yes, we have, Your Honor.
Are there any additions or corrections to that pre-sentence report?
No, Your Honor, I just want to make the court aware, Mrs. Addison, the deceased's wife, would have been here today to do victim impact. She had to go to the hospital yesterday. She's able to tune in, I believe, and watch us. The rest of Mr. Addison's family is here, and his mother is going to want to do victim impact at the end of sentencing.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Nichols. Any witnesses with regard to sentencing?
No additional witnesses, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Lewis, you may make argument.
Okay. Judge, of course, this was a very tragic situation that has affected a lot of people. Of course, the decedent, Mr. Addison, his family, as well as Mr. James and his family. It was a situation where, this was a combination of a long substance abuse history of Mr. James. The assessment.
That opening hits like a punch to the gut. Before we even step inside the courtroom, we're reminded that every criminal case begins with a human tragedy. One decision behind the wheel didn't just end a life, it changed generations forever.
That's provided in the PSI here says that there was about a 20-year relationship between Mr. James and different substances over a period of time. We have. The one thing I can say is that once Mr. James went through this situation with this accident, he has been doing everything he can to try to better himself. He has got his high school diploma. He's was baptized and has definitely changed his ways in going to his faith and continuing in that regard. He's also got some different certifications that he was able to receive dealing with OSHA, I think it was Men's University, things of that nature to try to better himself, Judge. Now, it's no secret he does have a long criminal history. That even included dealing with PCP, which is the same substance that was involved in this accident. And as well as other serious offenses. I do want to address something as far as I know there's some situations here dealing with the jail instances, and I know how the court proceeds or looks at the situation here dealing with those. Mr. James, if you look at these situations, majority of them did come from situations involving him and other inmates, as far as any type of fight or anything like that, which unfortunately some things he can't avoid. But as far as anything dealing with being disrespectful or anything towards jail employees or things of that nature, there's one situation I think that they were talking about that it wasn't an actual write-up.
Now the sentencing phase begins. This isn't about deciding guilt anymore. If that's already settled, the court must weigh aggravating factors against any evidence of rehabilitation to determine what punishment justice truly requires.
But it was notated. He has been a trustee over there for a period of time at the jail as well. Now, I do want to point out that, of course, some of those situations that Mr. James was able to do to better himself, of course, could definitely increase his earning potential as far as what he has as far as his job situation. He does have significant family support. His brother is here today in the courtroom, who in any way is there to try to help him, including helping secure employment. My understanding is the plan, once he is able to be released, is for him to be moved to Houston, Harris County area, to be close to his brother, to help him with everything over there. Now PSI did have a recommendation for his different vehicles that support that's available to him through the probation department. What I will say is that everything that has been recommended, he definitely needs and will be better for him. We are not, and ourselves are not asking for a specific number or anything like that. We just want him to be able to, of course, make amends for this situation as much as possible, which could include some of the restitution there. I think the amount is over $100,000 for his restitution there to the family. Now, like I said, he has made a plan to try to better himself. He has a family that supports him. He is doing everything he can. He understands that this was a tragic accident, but one he was definitely responsible for.
Notice the prosecutor's strategy. He's arguing this wasn't a one-time lapse in judgment, it was a repeated pattern of dangerous behavior in sentencing. Prior convictions and repeated offenses often carry enormous weight because they speak to future public safety.
And what we're asking for is as much leniency as possible from the court, for him to be able to move forward with the situation, be able to make amends as much as possible. And I think he did provide a letter to the court as well to kind of speak to that as far as an apology letter that was to the family, his family, the family of the victim, as well as to the court, Judge.
And I've received that.
And so that's what we're asking for today, Judge, is for everything to be considered. We understand this is, you can't bring that person back. He can't just go back to make amends with Mr. Addison, but he wants to try to make as much of amends he can to society and do better going forward, Judge.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis. Mr. Nichols.
Your Honor, I think any consideration to Mr. James's due was given when he got a 50-year cap. I have no hesitation asking the court to exercise the full 50 years. This case is one of the worst intoxication manslaughters. It's on video where he plows into Mr. Addison, who's at a stoplight on a motorcycle, and while trying to get away, runs over him and the motorcycle again. It's horrific, Your Honor. What is also just inconceivable to me is that a man who's on parole for several possessions of phencyclidine, PCP, finds himself behind the wheel on PCP again. And this time it ends in the death of somebody. His criminal history is extensive. It starts with minor drug offenses, then a conviction for aggravated robbery, and then I believe it's 5 drug convictions all at the same time in 2020, for which he was quickly paroled out and on parole when this happened. The fact that the
courtroom has reached its turning point. The defense emphasized remorse and rehabilitation while the prosecution focused on accountability and public protection. Now everything rests on the judge's decision.
The law gives you the right to receive. I'm going to hand you the trial court certification that shows this was an agreement and I followed it, and so you've waived your right to appeal. I have also handed you a written admonishment regarding your ineligibility to possess a firearm or ammunition. Because of the judgment entered against you, you're ineligible under Texas law to possess a firearm or ammunition. Possession of a firearm or ammunition could lead to charges against you. Firearm is a legal term, and you should read the written admonishment I provided you to see what devices qualify as a firearm. If you have questions about the laws that make you ineligible to possess a firearm or ammunition, or about how long that lasts, you can talk with Mr. Lewis. There's really so many other things I could say about how horrible this is, and rarely am I out of words, but I really don't have the words to say what a tragic circumstances based on your behavior this led to. Y'all can have a seat at council table for the victim impact statement, and we'll go off the record. Do you want me to leave it on for the other family member to hear?
I think that would be
if the
a great
family member's
idea.
okay, that's given the statement, then I'll leave it
Mrs.
on.
Addison, I mean, yeah.
If she is not comfortable, then I'll turn it off.
I'll ask.
I stand representing my family, Monica's absence, and some of my grandbaby's absence because of college, and the one that's here, my daughter, my husband, and my nephew. We have had a tremendous loss. And someone that carelessly drove a vehicle and just took my baby life. Praise God instantly, because I couldn't stand to see him suffer. But after vacation and joined him that same day, speaking to him 3 times.
50 years, that's effectively a lifetime for many defendants, but even the harshest sentence can't restore what this family lost. Punishment may deliver accountability, but it can never replace a son, a husband, or a father.
Times before he left, and then a phone call come. We had a beautiful day talking 3 times that day. And a phone call come. I missed the call in Monica telling me he's in the hospital. I get there, my baby is dead. My firstborn, very close family. We did our anniversary dinner together, his wife and I. We had a day separation anniversary. We had lunches together, our anniversaries, backyard picnics, birthday celebrations, our grandbabies, his grandbabies. Finally get to be adults, praise God. They're getting ready to enter college. My son is in his happiest moment. Everything he wanted to do. He had his motorcycle, his car, his house, take where his kids growing. Like everything was just in order. And bam, it's just taken away in an instant by someone who got behind the wheel, not able to drive. And I heard drug my baby. Till this day, 3 years, I can't pass that way. I can't cross that intersection, not even far from my church, closest to me to get home. I can't make myself drive that way. And I wake up out of my sleep crying. That's crazy because of a death taken too soon behind something like drinking or drugs. Why? I can't communicate with anyone in my family because everybody's bedridden. Not the baby girl. I have nobody but Jesus to go to that understand my hurt. I don't want to disturb my family. They're sick. And to know that I'm standing here 3 years later, you should have been come to court for that. I've been hurting and crying, standing for my family, holding myself together. If you all could see the ripples in my heart behind my loss.
This case reminds us that impaired driving doesn't end with flashing lights or courtroom headlines. It leaves empty seats at dinner tables and families carrying unimaginable grief for years. Do you believe the sentence was fair, or should it have been different? Share your thoughts respectfully in the comments, and remember, one responsible decision behind the wheel can save countless lives.